at the end of the day, musicians, their dream is to do music full time.
Right.
They don't have to bag groceries or bartend or whatever else they'd have to do. They want to make the life that they want to, have the life they want to create through music, through that outlet, right? And you've been able to do that as a speaker. Now, I was talking to my nephews the other day when they were at the house. They're at that tender young age where just out of high school, decided college wasn't for them at this time because they didn't know what they want to do in life, and they're just really kind of stumbling around, trying to figure out what their purpose is, right? And I think that's everybody has to do that to a certain degree. But and just giving them some advice, I was like, hey man, if you're not pulled in any certain direction, there's something that you just feel called to do, like you were called to speak, right? So they haven't found that calling yet. They're still looking for it. I'm like, so at the end of the day, you've got to live. So are you chasing a certain career, or are you chasing a dollar amount of security? Mm-hmm. And they haven't found the career yet, so they're chasing a dollar amount. I'm like, cool, well, where can you get that? Like that. So they're confused as to like, well, I don't know if I want to do that. Well, you don't know what you want to do. That's right. So you got to go where the money is, right?
Yeah. Nick, there's an exercise I've been using for my executive coaching clients for a long time. And it's very simple in execution, but it is profound in impact. Mm-hmm. And what I tell people to do is take some time by yourself. No music, no distractions, just you, yourself, and a blank piece of paper, and write down what in your mind are the 5 greatest accomplishments of your life. And the key is not what you think other people think they will be, or what you think the right answer is in the eyes of other people. What do you think they are? Now, for me, for the longest, the short version of this is I worked at a summer camp. After I worked in the Upward Bound program, my next job was as a summer camp counselor for kids from abusive, foster care, bad situations. And the long story short is we had a kid in the camp who had attempted suicide twice in his life. And I just knew, and again, I have to give God all the credit because there's no way I would have known this at 18 years old, that kid was going to be as extreme as possible to try to get us to show we didn't care about him. I don't know how I knew that, but I did. And I knew I had to just say, no matter what that kid said, I'm going to take it like, I like ice cream. How about you? Well, he came at me with some crazy stuff. And all I did was just let it ride. And then I would compliment everything he did. Long story short, Nick, at the end of the camp, when that kid was about to go back to whatever he was about to go back to, it's a 15-year-old white kid. This is 1981. And he ran down the middle of that bus and he jumped up on me. He said, man, you're the first person to make me feel good about myself.
Wow.
I'm 60 years old, brother. I'll never forget it. The second part of the exercise is to write down what you feel are the 5 greatest compliments you've ever received. When I was 5 years old, Nick, I had this epiphany. I don't know if you can have epiphanies at 5, but that's what I'm going to call it. And I just went outside our little unit in the Blue Mire Housing Project, and I sat on the curb, and I looked around at some of the people that lived around me. I was 5, man. And I remember saying out loud, there it goes again, I am never going to be a problem for my mother. Matter of fact, I'm never going to argue with my mother.
Wow.
I was 5, man. My mom passed away.
Did you say that out loud, or was it a thought?
I said it out loud.
That's what I thought.
I did. I said it out loud. My mom passed away due to ALS in December of 21.
Okay.
February of 22, I'm back in St. Louis with her former boss, who was her best friend, getting some of her affairs situated. And as I'm getting ready to literally leave her house and get back on the plane and fly back to Nashville, she goes, Derek, she said, do you know what your mother used to always say about you? And my mom's friend's name is Alvia. I said, no, Alvia, what? She said, Jenny would say, Alvia, do you know that boy had never caused me a problem in my life?
Wow.
Right.
My mama can't say that.
That exercise, man, it'll help you center around what's really significant. And that's what I would offer to your nephews, man. It's just, I don't care what jobs you do, but it helps you get that calling. That's what I mean. The career is the job, it's the business, it's the volunteer work. But the calling is that unique impact that only you can make, that's meant for you to make it. And I found that 2-part exercise is a good way to help people get at that.
You know, I have a lot of thoughts. And one of the things that I'm starting to figure out about myself, raising kids and everything else is thoughts aren't proclamations. They're ideas, so to speak. But something actually becomes real the moment that I commit to it out loud, especially if I do it in a public place or to somebody else.
That's
all right?
right.
But at worst, it's to myself. So like literally like my dad used to say the same joke. Oh, I've lost 1,000 pounds in my lifetime, the same 10 pounds over and over and over again.
Right. Right.
And I catch myself, I'd get to that place in fitness, let's just use for example, where I'd get to that spot where good enough was good enough, and it wasn't what I'd aimed for, but it was close. Mm-hmm. And if I was an addict, it would be like a relapse, so to speak, and then going back into it. So and dude, I love, like, sweets are my thing. Dude.
Right.
I love them. And when I take stuff like melatonin or whatever else for sleep, it always like I want to eat. I want to eat. So it's a tough. Do I sleep tonight or do I?
Yeah.
What do I want to do? But the bottom line, the reason I'm saying all that is because I'll think all the time, over and over again, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be better, and so on and so forth. And then I won't. And the next day I'm mad. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm like, man, like I set myself back another day. God gave me a day and I wasted it, so to speak. But when I always get to that breaking point where I'm going to bust through, and it always comes with a vocal reinforcement out loud, usually to somebody.
To somebody else. Nick, here's the process. First, we have to think it. All right? Sometimes we generate the thought. Sometimes the thought sort of comes from who knows where.
Yeah.
First, we think it. Then, Nick, we have to formulate it. Now, this is happening in nanoseconds.
Yep.
Then we formulate it. Am I going to say it with a sigh? Am I going to say it with a frown? Am I going to say it pumping my fist? These are nanosecond decisions. Then we what? We utter it. It comes out.
Yep.
Here's the crazy piece. Then we hear it. That's where either the plus or the minus comes from. We hear it. I've had so many clients over the years where they say, well, DY, I'm just not good in front of groups. Well, I know why you're not. And they'll go, why? Because you probably have told yourself that 7,000 times.
That's right.
So what I'd rather you do is either don't say anything or say, I am getting better in front of groups.
People don't understand. It took me a long time. Like when you keep saying those things that are negative about yourself, like those reps build up, and they like, you know what I mean? It's not like they say that the Grand Canyon was formed over millions of years of just one simple stream, small, just, the ripple effect over and over and over with enough time.
Yep.
And it drives me crazy. And it's like, the word try is not allowed to be used in my house.
Love it.
Because nobody that's trying to do anything ever does it. You're either doing it or you're not, right?
I like that.
And my son, the story is he asked, I think it was my sister, where, she was working on a breakthrough, and she said, I'm trying to do something. He said, well, do you try to get a glass of water, or do you just go get one?
I love it.
And she was like, man, it's really good. But bottom line is we're not trying to do anything. We're either doing it or we're not.
I talked about rap earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick, whether you like rap or not, whether you like rap music, whether you like rappers, whether you like what they're rapping about, that is a group of people who have figured it out.
Yep.
You never hear a rapper say, I'm broke, I'm poor, I'm without a crib. It is always, I got money, I got watches, Now, whether you like what they're rapping about is not even my point.
Yeah.
They have proven that you will get what you repeatedly say and focus on. And when you add some effort to it, you have just set yourself on fire.
Man.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. Okay, so I've spent the majority of this episode selfishly talking about things that I was wanting to talk about, but I speak for a wonderful audience. All right. But with the, with the little bit of time that we have left today, I want to talk about kind of like, you're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. You're here for a reason. And that reason is not to talk about what you've already done. It's because you've got a fire. You've got a fire that has been lit, and you are looking towards the future. You're making a significant push toward your next chapter in life and business. Okay. And as a matter of fact, folks, check him out online, because there's some pretty amazing stuff hitting all of his socials on a daily basis right freaking now, right? So again, on socials, it's at DY Speaks. DerekYoungSpeaks.com is the website. You can find links to everything on all the socials there as well. But DY, talk to me about like, what's the next chapter look like for you? What are you doing? Like, what problems are you solving for other folks?
This is a phenomenal question because I believe God put me on this planet to help individuals and organizations go from good to great to legendary. Now, legendary does not mean look at me, look at how wonderful I am, look at my car, look at my appointments. No, legendary is hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are living better and doing better as a result of what you did. So I'm at a point now, I don't know if it's turning 60 or what, but I'm at a point in my life.
You're about to turn 60?
Come on, brother, let's go. But right now, man,
Dude.
it is about how do I help every person I can possibly help with that conversation I just had with that CEO. How can I help every vice president of any function with the message I just delivered to that corporation? It's how do we get information that helps, that works, that's proven into the ears, the minds, and the hearts of people. And that's really what the fire is. Now, I've done this my whole life. But now, through my partnership with great folks like yourself, I see a way to really exponentialize that and really make it so that I had a coaching session with a college executive the other day. And he said, DY, man, he said, I take work home with me every day. And I can't help it. And my wife and my 3 kids. He said, I want to stop doing it. I said, hey, bro. I said, guess what? Don't stop doing it. He goes, what? I said, don't stop taking the work home with you. He goes, what? I said, no, what we're going to do is you're going to go to each member of your family and ask them, what can I do to improve the quality of our relationship? And I said, you're going to be shocked. With one person, it might be just play video games with me, daddy. With somebody else, it might be, will you read me stories? With your wife, it might be, I just want you to hear me think out loud. I said, if you'll focus on the quality of your relationships and make that the priority, you'd be amazed at how you can still do those things in your head at home because you're doing what matters most to the people at home.